Hi, everyone. Welcome to the History of International Childfree Day. I'm Cody, a co-founder for the Childfree Conference, and I'll be joined today by Laura Carroll as our speaker. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Cody.
I can see and hear you. This is awesome. Well, it's the 31st here, and I'm in America, my part of the world, but it's already August 1st. In some parts of the world, they're ahead of the game. They're in the future, as I like to say.
I know.
So they're already getting to celebrate ahead of us of this fabulous day. Please tell us all about it.
Well, so the winners of the 2021 Childfree person and group, they will be announced in the wee hours tonight, United States time. So
I thought you were going to give us a spoiler right now. I was so excited. I was like,
I can't tell it now. It has to wait. But every year it's like, what time is it going to be? Because it's global and people in Belgium already want to know. But so just a little background and just information about how it all started. So after I published Families of Two, I kept researching the child-free choice, really looking at why does society find it so hard, this choice so hard to accept. And that ultimately led me to do the baby matrix. But the research I did, I found this organization called the National Organization of Non-Parents. That, yes, was founded in the early 70s by two women, Shirley Riddell, who at the time was the executive director of Zero Population Growth, which was an overpopulation nonprofit at the time, and Ellen Peck, who many child-free people know, wrote The Baby Trap, as well as she was a co-editor of a book, Pronatalism and the Myth of Mom and Apple Pie, which is still super relevant today. I learned in their purpose statement, I deliberately picked it up to read today because I think it's so informative. Okay, an excerpt here is, it was an educational organization to make the child-free lifestyle a realistic and socially accepted and respected option and eliminate pronatalist social and economic discrimination. So this organization back in the early 70s was already up to what we're still up to today. They're way ahead, and they knew the issues and they were after it. Now, you'll notice in that excerpt is the word child-free, okay? They used the word child-free in the early 70s. It was in the textbooks too. So it's been around longer than a lot of people think in terms of the usage. I found that interesting. And at the time, they grew to maybe 400 members, and they were people that were parents, they weren't parents, they were married, not married, but it was really, the thrust initially was around the backdrop of overpopulation. So in the 70s, it was a topic for a while. Yeah. And in 1973, they did an annual non-parents award day. So they started what ultimately we're doing today, but in a different fashion. So what they did is they selected a king and queen, a non-parent king and queen of the year. No, I'm serious. That's what they called it. They put the winners in a carriage. They went through Central Park. They stopped at the Plaza Hotel. They put laurel crowns on them. Yeah, the whole thing in public, right? And the winner of the king that year was a guy named Stuart Mott, and he was a philanthropist and a bachelor, so he was single. And the queen was Anna Silverman, and she was a teacher, and she was married, and she and her husband had published a book called The Case Against Having Children. Even that title back then was like provocative. Wow. So she was the winner, and the festivity made the New York Times, which is a big thing. And the short story of reading the article, which you can still find online, is that the reactions or the opinions of onlookers, was in a word, it was mixed. So, you have to imagine, what if we did that today? How would that look today? Maybe it might be similar. I don't know. Depends on what the crowns look like.
They mix rocks with tomatoes. We're not quite sure.
Right. It could be. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we'll try it one year. We'll see. But later in the 70s, they decided to rebrand themselves, and they renamed themselves the National Alliance for Optional Parenthood. So the rebranding really was more to focus on the parenthood decision itself and to point out that parenthood is an option in life. It's a choice. And then they really grew. They grew to several thousand members in at least 5 different countries. Big foundations funded them to do some really cool things, like they did TV and radio ad campaigns, all with the theme of parenthood is a choice. Think about that. If it was on TV and radio, they went to college campuses. It funded also developing some educational materials that were used in schools, okay? They actually made it into the schools. That's not a small endeavor. And it was about, parenthood as a choice, but also it included materials to get kids thinking about their aptitude for parenthood. Get them thinking early, well, if I decide I do want to become a parent, what will I be good at? What won't I be good at? What a concept. So they were doing some really good things, public speaking events all around. And then by, 1980, early 80s, the short story is that their funding started to go down. It got harder to find or get money.
Imagine that.
By 1982, well, foundations, they get interested in all kinds of endeavors. You get a fight to get the funding. And the short story is they decided to close their doors in 1982. So, but it's a great story, great trajectory of doing some great stuff all these years ago. And in 2013, early in that year, I kept thinking, going back to Non-Parents Day on August 1st and the celebratory idea they had, why don't we bring this forward to the present? Let's do it now as a way to showcase now the child-free lifestyle and do it in a celebratory, positive way. So rather than call it Non-Parents Day, which is kind of a rocky way to, it says it, but I thought, no, how about International Childfree Day? That's it. So at that time, I broached this idea of doing it on August 1st with some, child-free folks out there, some colleagues of mine at the time, Amy and her husband, Lance Blackstone. They were keen on it. Marsha Dritt Davis was in on it early on.
So why August 1st out of the other 364 days?
I don't really know. I'm really not sure why they picked August 1st. Probably one, I would think, summer. The weather's going to be good in New York. You don't want to do it in February, right? So people are out and about. That's all I could really come up with, because I can't find it in any of the writings and research I did. But I thought I like August 1st too for many reasons, as in the time of year, etc. So that year, with some help, we created a website and we created a panel that was going to, put word out to nominate people, and we put criteria on the website. And that first year we got nominations, like we were super psyched. Nominations came in, and even from Europe, I thought, we'll have, year 2 or 3 we'll get Europe, but no, Belgium, boom. So the first year, with the winner, we announced the winners, and they got awards that year. The awards were really books and signed copies of books by child-free authors who donated them. So everything worked super well. It was a great beginning, and here we are, 9 years running, and tomorrow's 2021, where we've got some new winners this year too. So I'm super excited. Awesome. So over the years, we just have our exposure from year one. We were just a little seed out there. It's grown quite a bit, and that's in large part to the online child-free community. Keeps the word out there and talking about it, especially during the nomination period. And over the years, I've had volunteers that have just done great work on social media to the best of their volunteer ability. They all are still. And we've had selection panel members that really have helped, because they've had platforms of 38,000 followers. Whenever you post and you do this stuff like that, the word gets out really fast. And we've had global winners. So the media in Europe has picked it up. We've got a little ink in Europe over the years. And next year, International Childfree Day is going to be in a textbook. So I was approached by a scholar in New Zealand, and wrote the chapter, and it's going to be out next year. So
that makes it real. Once it's in print, it's legitimate.
We're getting there. And then and the big important thing though is really highlighting the lives. And so every year we get nominations from people from all kinds of backgrounds, lots of different countries. And, some are totally into their child-free passion. They've done research, they've done books, films, etc. But, a lot of people are just people that are living great lives. All right. So one person I love to talk about is Sue Lang Wu, who won a couple of years ago.
Yeah, please.
And she was from Malaysia, but she moved to Thailand when she retired early, from her career in finance. She and her husband, and it wasn't long before she started to see stray dogs and beaten dogs on the streets of Thailand. So she couldn't stand it. She couldn't stand seeing these strays. So she started taking them home and bringing them back to health, keeping them if necessary, trying to find homes. Fast forward, she's got a sanctuary for dogs and cats. And she's got a Facebook page. You should, everybody go to it and watch her, because she goes to some incredible lengths to find dogs, like into the jungle, does dangerous things to find these animals. So that's an example of, no, she's not out there, touting child-free, but her life is one that models what a cool life can really look like. Who awesome. Are we and how are we living our lives? So the winners over the years, every year it gets, the variety gets wider and wider, and I just love it. So, and the awards, try to get creative about those and expand those. My dream is we have had a donation fund, and we do get donations, which helps to get the awards. That's all they're used for. And my dream is to, get enough funds one year to be able to offer.
You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car.
Or what electric car do you want? Or maybe go to a cool resort, and stream something. So be able to really get fantastico.
So if anybody out there has connections to resorts,
I'm open.
Help Laura out, hook her up with a child-free resort somewhere, and let them give that away to some amazing people.
Right. So there's just that's it in a nutshell. And now we're continue running. And tomorrow I'm excited to have you learn who's the winner this year.
I know, everyone's excited. Well, it's International Childfree Day, and so as you mentioned, a publisher in New Zealand wants to put it in a book. Is it recognized anywhere, or is it just kind of in formality? It's International Childfree Day. Is it in a? How do we get this in a calendar? I guess is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's good. Well, Wikipedia has formalized it for sure.
Okay.
And I think how I answer that is every year around the world, people I hear from that they're doing things. There are actions or activities, even if it's just going out and toasting as a meetup group.
Yeah.
So things like this is an example. Every year, there's more festivities that go on, and people connect around the world saying, hey, what are you doing? Hey, London, this is what we're doing. And hey, what are you doing in Belgium, kind of a thing. So that to me is what makes it more real, because people actually do something for themselves or with a group every year. So
that's awesome. Yeah. It used to be the International Childfree Day, Woman of the Year and Man of the Year. Now it's Person of the Year. Is there a specific reason why was this made into person versus the two different awards?
Well, when we first started it, we took a page from the King and the Queen, right? And we went man and woman. Good point. Yeah, I forgot to bring that up. And I think it was in 2 or 3, maybe 2018. That panel that year said, it would be a lot more inclusive if instead of this gender thing, why don't we just do a person and then a group? And then if we did groups that way, we could have couples win. We've had winners, last year, a Russian Facebook page group won, and that's in 60,000 plus followers. That's how big the group can be. So I thought is the head of it just going, makes a lot more sense to me. And it's really proven to make the nominations more expansive and inclusive and interesting. So
yeah. So the Russian Facebook group is a great example. What's another group that has won the award in the past that you might recall?
Another group, well, the first year, the group was a podcast, and it was a couple. who were married without children. And they were, and this is when, you know, before everybody was doing podcasts. They were like one of the few out there, and they were really candid. They had a really good following. So they were a great example of awarding a couple an award, as well as something that they were doing that we wanted to put a spotlight on. So that's another one who's an interesting winner.
What do we need to do to get that little, the profile thing? Y'all can come up with like the bubble, like the International Child-Free Day under the pictures. What do we have to get Mark Zuckerberg to hook us up with that kind of thing?
I wish.
We need one of those. If someone has any connections out there, ideas, let's get this going.
Well, I have to tell you, I've pounded the pavement to like Chelsea Handler and Kirkman. I've tried to get through their handlers of some famous people. And
tell me about that. I can imagine there's a lot of high profile celebrities that are openly like child free.
They
Whether
are.
It's by choice or by circumstance, they're child free about it. What's kind of the holdup for maybe them wanting to?
I don't know. I think that they got more important things to do, or they don't want to maybe come out in this public way. Might be it. It's tough to even get to them, you know, to even talk to them. So, but I'm keeping trying. So
keep at it. So the International Child-Free Day, like, is it all on you? Do you have a small staff of anyone to help you other than like at the time of selection with the panels? Do you have anybody else that's helping you with?
I do, yeah. And every year I do have a small cadre of volunteers that help me, and they tend to move from year to year. They're in college and they get some experience and they move on. So mostly to do social media stuff, do some homework for me, like who are Chelsea Handler's handlers, where's their email, that kind of thing. So I do certainly have help, that's for sure. And the selection panel, they're volunteers, and part of volunteering for that role really is to help the platform and help get the word out there, etc. So that's really works well every year. In the beginning, what I did was I took the winners from the year before and asked them if they wanted to be on the panel, plus some other people, like Amy and Lance were on there, and to round it out. And that worked, but I found as we went along, if I could put on the panel people who had more of a digital reach, it helped the exposure. So every year is a little different on what we decide is the best way to create it for the maximum outreach possible.
So if someone's wanting to get involved for maybe next year and help volunteer in some fashion, how would they reach out to you for that?
They can reach out to me at internationalchildfreeday.com. They can reach me at laura@lauracarroll.com. I'm easily found.
You're out there. You are out there.
Yeah. So and that's what happens every year too. I'll get emails from somebody saying, "Oh, I really want to. What can I do?" Or it's again college kids that need a little experience. And they want to have to be child-free related. So any interest, I'm always, or also any ideas for funding to really get some great rewards in the future.
Definitely. Oh, you're muted, Lenora.
Oh.
No one ever tells me they can't hear me. Like, that's unusual. I wanted to get a little personal, Laura.
Sure.
I always like to ask advocates how, taking on these roles and bringing such awareness, how does it solidify your stance? And I mean, I'm assuming at this point you don't question your choice to be child-free, but just participating. Okay, here's my question. Can you speak to the importance of participating in the community? If you find something that you can do, like restarting this International Child-Free Day or helping with the conference. It doesn't have to be a big splashy thing, or it could be, volunteering with you. Like, can you speak to the importance of that? Because when when you find something you're passionate about, we usually start small and then it kind of builds and builds. But for me personally, it's been really affirming, and I've found my complete calling in life, it seems, that I didn't know I needed to have. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. Well, for myself, I feel that with regard to International Child-Free Day in particular, I was passionate about finding a positive way to educate and make people more aware, because as child-free people, we know we got plenty of things stigmas and things we're trying to unravel that are negative and we're judged, and some of that's still so very true. So I want to put, what can we do that has a positive spin? And what they did all those years ago, it might have been under the auspices of overpopulation, but it was a great idea because it was positive. So that I feel it's my passion, is my contribution of one of the biggest reasons I started it. And as far as participating, what I have seen over the years, and people have helped me on all kinds of other projects in addition to this one, I find that when people are just starting to embrace their child-free decision 100%, you might feel it inside, but until you're willing to be vocal about it and to talk about it and talk with others and do things like this and be seen, I think it's often on child-free people's journey to their own 100% rock on acceptance within themselves. It's part of their own journey.
Yes.
And once they're like you, Lenore, like once you're there, you're like, let's go. What do we want to do? And then
it's kind of hard to back out now.
Right. And you don't want to.
No,
you don't want to. You want people that are on their journey you want them to keep going and to find that place within themselves. And all that fosters acceptance. We're all in that game of change. That's I think what's great too, is it creates this huge momentum, and it's in process for sure. It's great.
I feel like, there are people, especially if you're at the beginning of discovering a community, you want to contribute and you're not sure because maybe you're not as flamboyant as some of us. And to be honest, I hated the idea of doing video. Like, this was not anything I wanted anything to do with. It's been a gradual progression. So,
right.
When you discover the community and you're going, well, what can I do? Where can I fit in? What would you suggest to somebody as a starting point, something to ease them into participating publicly or almost publicly?
Go to who you gravitate towards. Like, if you love a particular Facebook page, direct message, talk to the admin people where they need help. Go straight to Marsha Drutt-Davis, for example. She's very accessible, and we all need assistance on our particular endeavors. With regard to Child-Free Day in particular, International Childfree Day, is to get involved in making it happen. Do you want to be part of the panel? I might even do that next year. I might recruit for it as a way for people to go, okay, that's for me, and this is what I'm going to do. Also, I find that people nominate. A lot of it is their first step is they nominate someone they know. That's the first thing they do. Or better, it's equal. They nominate themselves. And for a lot of people, I can't tell you how many times I get like this little paragraph and then the self-nomination. Well, I'm kind of scared to do this, but I want to put myself out there, and this is part of me being a child-free person. And even if I don't win, I don't care, but it's my way. And, many years we go, boom, that's a brave gal. Let's give it to her. So it happens in that form as well.
And that's a great way for people to get involved as well, is to provide you with nominations, because we aren't everywhere. And again, like, there's so many people that are up and coming in the child-free scene. It might be a platform that's new, like Child-Free Clubhouse, just like, came out of nowhere just months ago. And so to be able to get that knowledge to the people who need to know it, like you, that's a great way for all of our viewers that are watching this. If there's someone that you want to give a pat on the back to, do you think they do a great job promoting the lifestyle, help them get some recognition, even if they don't win, just letting Laura know that person's out there. Maybe she's able to find some way to give like, a certificate or something. I don't know. Just something on the website, like just saying, hey, we got some great nominations. We want to thank I don't know.
Right. Well, I think that one thing that panel does every year too is rather than have a winner who's already really well known around the child-free community, how do we showcase new names, or who just came on the floor and they're doing something new and they're on the ascent, or like Soup, they're living lives that are just fantastic. So it's not about making the people that are already well known more well known, and it's not about helping them sell their books or any of that marketing thing. It's about wow, look at what that person's doing in their life. And this is a way, again, to educate on who are we? We're everywhere and we're doing great things. So that gives me a lot of juice.
And I think that's a really important point to make, that it's not about who has the most followers or who has the biggest whatever, because, or who has the more wigs, you know. Sorry, I need sleep.
Yeah, winks.
I'm trying to be funny today. But you know, but because again, it can be intimidating for people who are coming in. I mean, that was my experience 3 years ago. I just had no following, was just like, I want to talk about this. And I love when there are platforms where people who nobody knows can speak up, because it takes a while to find your voice, especially on this topic. And and you, like you said, you need encouragement, and most of us try a bunch of different things to see what sticks. And the first thing we start out doing isn't the thing that we're going to be doing 3 years from now. So, you know, it's nice. And it's such a good point. And I hope that inspires people who already have platforms to consider the people that have zero following, let them speak, because it's benefited. Like, if I can get personal, it's benefited me. I didn't know Cody or Jared, but I wouldn't.
Nobody knew who I was.
Yeah. They came out of nowhere for me.
Fine.
But I was like, yeah, I'll do this. And it's like, I got to formulate my thought here because I wasn't prepared for this, but it's important. Like, numbers don't really matter. It's like, it's the person's spirit and energy, and everybody has something to say and contribute to the community. So if we can, you know, inspire people or do it ourselves to create things where people that don't have a platform can share their story, there's so much to share. I mean, you know, I was contacted by Oscar in Kenya. If you saw the halftime show, you know, he's in Kenya. He was looking for someone to help, whatever, and now he had a slot in the halftime show, and I was happy I could do that for him, because they have profound things to say. Everyone has a story, and we really want it to come out. So
thank you for helping give people that platform as well. It's great. It's great to recognize them for their efforts and their work and what they're doing to help the community. Is there anything that you would like to plug or promote? How can people get in touch with you on social media? What's going on with you?
Well, it's for International Childfree Day. We have a Facebook page. It's International Childfree Day. It's called exactly that. And then on Twitter, it's @Childfree Day. So follow it, because we post all year long. So, you know, on child-free people from history, anything that's going on, piggyback on great things that other groups are doing. So we try to keep that platform alive and relevant, not just when the nomination time is coming, or not just when the winners are announced, etc. So those are the places to actually, you know, join and visit regularly. And I've had Facebook pages. Families of Two has a Facebook page. The Baby Matrix has a Facebook page, and it's all very often I try to interconnect things that are relevant. So that's a start. Yes, that's Marcia. Oh, she's a quick little short story too. In 2014. We got nominations, I think it was at least 3 for her. And so the panel that year, we did something creative. We gave her the Lifetime Contribution Award for Childfree. So she, you know, we recognized her separately. So each year, depending on how they come in and who it is, we choose based on a whole number of factors. And in some cases, we isolate out and do something special. So we did for her, and she deserved it.
Well, that's awesome. Well, in closing, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Nothing other than it's been a great journey, and I'm so happy that it's going to continue on. And if you want to be part of making it happen every year, contact me, because we'll grow it together globally.
Volunteers welcome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks again. Ciao.
Thanks for watching.
If you have a question for us on this topic, put it in the comments below.
And feel free to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.
And we still got cool merch available. We'll put a link in the description.
Thanks to StreamYard for sponsoring the 2021 Childfree Conference.
That'll
That's good
happen
enough.
too.
That's good enough.